Welcome to our home classroom. Today we're going to be working on long division on the Montessori stamp game. Here we have a 4-digit dividend and a 3-digit divisor. So I've already set up the dividend on my mat. We have our 8,000s, 300s, 4 tens, and 7 units. And now we're going to build our divisor. So for this, we're going to use our skittles. So 100 skittle represents 100 units. So because our divisor has 200s, I'm going to set them up next to my mat. And then I'm going to get 6 tens. And these each represent 10 units because in division, we always give out fairly. So we have to make sure each unit gets the same amount. So I have 6 tens. I'm going to line those up on my mat. And then I'm going to get out 3 units to represent the final place value in our divisor. Okay, that's a big problem. Sometimes my kids like to put a box lid or something hard on the mat because it can get a little tricky to keep everything upright here, but we're going to go ahead and start distributing. We start with the largest place value when we distribute in division. So I'm going to start with my thousands, and I'm going to give 1,000 to each of my hundreds. And because these skittles represent 100, 100, each unit would be receiving 10. So we basically need to make sure every unit, whether it's represented by a 10 skittle or 100, is receiving the same amount. I'm going to continue by giving each 10 100 because this means each unit, there's 10 people or 10 units represented by the 10 skittle, each one is receiving 10. Now I've run out of hundreds to distribute, so I'm going to go to my thousands and I'm going to exchange for 10 hundreds. I've already preset some stacks of 10 hundreds here to make my job easier. Let me just double check we have 10, and now we can keep distributing. So we're going to give out 6 hundreds here. And, something I had kind of forgotten when I was going back through my lessons was that we actually want all of these stamps to touch each other. I have had the habit of leaving them separated, but you really get the geometry of the math when you put them in a block here. Okay, so we've distributed hundreds to each of the tens, which means each unit is now going to get 10. And we have now fairly distributed out for one round. So we need to look at our mat, see what's left of our dividend, and whether we can distribute fairly again. And I see I have enough thousands to give out 2 more. And we can continue giving each of our tens 100. And I can already tell I'm going to run out of tens to give my units. So I'm going to take one of these hundreds, my last 100 here, and get 10 more tens, which I've also pre-counted over here for simplicity. And this is just a construction paper mat I've made. Maybe there's one that you can purchase, but for me, this was really easy, and it's lasted us for probably 5 years now. All right, so we're going to give out a 10 to each unit. And look, I can go one more time. I have 2 more thousands to pass out. I don't have any hundreds, so I'm going to turn in this last 1,000 to get more hundreds. So I'll get 10 hundreds is equal to 1,000. And we can pass out 6 more. And these patterns that are forming here are going to start to look a lot like what the child will see later on the checkerboard or in other materials when they work on geometric multiplication, either using the stamp game or the pegboard or on paper. Okay, so I can't give out any more thousands because I've used them all up. Once we get, this is a 3-digit divisor. I only have 3 place values left to give out, so this is going to be the end of my distribution. When I run out of hundreds, I won't be able to go any further, because if we started giving tens out to the hundreds and units to the tens, we'd have nothing to give to the units. It would need to be tenths, and this is not a decimal game, so we will stop and have a remainder. So I've given out 2 hundreds. I see I don't quite have enough tens here. I'm going to have 5 and need 1 more to distribute fairly. So I'll need to exchange one of those hundreds to get 1 more 10. I can do that. And now I can give out units to the unit. Okay, I do not have 2 hundreds to fairly give out here, so I am done with my division. And the answer in division is always what 1 gets. And so we're going to go look at our unit, and we see we have 3 tens and 1 unit. So I'm going to write 3 tens and 1 unit. And then we can look at our mat here and see what our remainder is. So I have 100. I have 9 tens, and I have 4 units. So our quotient is 31, remainder 194.